Thanks for staying with us. The Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa is again calling on the community to assist in shutting down illegal initiation schools. This after at least 3 people were killed in the Eastern Cape since the start of the winter initiation season. To discuss this, we can speak to Controlesa Secretary General Zolani Mkiva joining us from our Cape Town studios. Mr. Mkiva, very good afternoon to you and thank you for your time. So one of the things that people will be looking to hear from you is what is being done differently this year to ensure the safety of the young men who partake in this rite of passage.
Good afternoon to you, Tembekile, and the viewers, and thank you for your question. Indeed, what we have done this year is that we have taken a very aggressive approach by putting together a joint task team, which is led by the chairperson of Controlesa in the Eastern Cape province, since we are referring to what has already occurred in that province. And that joint task team has got senior officials of Department of Health, COGTA, as well as the Department of Health. And we have taken an approach that begins to say that we must be on the ground exactly where these things are happening. But the joint task team is also working with communities right at the village level to ensure that we disrupt these bogus doctors and do away with these illegal initiation schools. And it is regrettable that at this point we have already lost 7 boys from the OR Tambo region, as well some of them are from the Alfred Nzo region in the Eastern Cape. And all of those boys died in these illegal initiation schools. We have managed to rescue more than 35 boys from these bogus initiation schools. 25 of them have already been admitted in a place of rescue and they are being attended to. And we are making a clarion call to our people, particularly those who are in the areas where these things are being done, that they must not shy away in informing police and in ensuring that they make an intervention through the structures of traditional authority as well as other relevant bodies like the departments that I have mentioned. Because we have a problem because people look away when these things are happening. And that is the sad situation that already we have lost 7 boys. But the joint task team is doing all it can to prevent the escalation of this death. In 2018, by this time, we had already lost more than 15 people. So at least these numbers are 7. But even one person who dies in the course of going through the rites of passage is too much many. It should not happen. It should not be allowed. This ritual is not a ritual of killing people. This is a ritual of preparing future leaders, and therefore it needs to be respected. People cannot use such a very important ritual to make money, to use it basically for money, and in the process people are compromised, people's lives are lost as a result of this kind of greed. This is totally unacceptable.
Let me ask you this then, Zolani Mkiva, because the warnings about the dangers of sending these young men to illegal initiation schools have well documented over the years. And in fact, what one of your leaders has said, Chief Mwera Nongonyane has said that what needs to happen now is that action needs to be taken against parents. Why are parents still sending these teenagers to these schools knowing very well the dangers they face?
Well, there are different reasons why young people who are underage are going through. Some of them are taking themselves there. But in a case where a parent has actually defrauded the system and produced a wrong ID in a traditional authority or in the Department of Health, then consequence management must kick in. So we have got different reasons, and certainly some people have already been arrested to that effect. We have bogus doctors, traditional doctors and traditional nurses who have been arrested and they are sitting in the cells. And we are also saying that that should also apply to parents who deliberately defraud the state by producing wrong documents, and the parents would deliberately take their children to bogus schools, because all the schools must be certified and actually be certificated by a traditional authority. Without a note of a traditional leader where there is an area under the jurisdiction of a traditional leadership, then people must ensure that they verify the authenticity of that particular traditional doctor before they take their children to. And also want to emphasize that in terms of the South African legislation, only boys that are above the age of 18 must be taken to these traditional schools.
Okay, so for parents who are preparing to send their boys off to these schools, and those of us who aren't too familiar with how the practice runs, how does one even begin to spot a school that might be operating illegally? What do we check for?
Well, I mean, don't even go to that particular school without going to a place which is a custodian, a place that occupies the custodianship of traditions, which is a traditional leader. Where there are no traditional leaders, because police are part of this joint task team. So you must also go to police if it needs be. If you cannot access, or if there are no traditional leaders in your area, at least go to police for verification and to check the authenticity of the school that is being recommended to you. Don't leave things to chance, and don't take things for granted. This is about the life of your children, and therefore it is important not to rush to check in your child or to enroll your child under these circumstances. Otherwise, you are putting the life of your own child in danger. We want to emphasize this point, that 24 hours the offices of traditional leaders of our country are open, so that our people are given the right counsel and the right guidance in terms of what needs to happen before your kid actually meets an authentic traditional session. Don't ever take chances. This has been happening for too long, and as Contralesa, we are calling for a stop in this thing.
Okay, Contralesa Secretary General Solani Mkiva speaking to us this afternoon from our Cape Town studios. Thank you.